Chicago Network is on the air. Hello, everybody. I am Ryan Yannishadas, and it's time to focus. We got a double-header focus here on this Monday. Not football. That'll be on Wednesday when we recap the Bears. Today, we are closing the book on the 2024 Major League Baseball season. I know we've only covered it for a month, but it's time to put it to bed as neither Chicago team makes the playoffs. Let's first focus on the Chicago Cubs. Cubs overall, I know I came on here and made a big rant, and I think I'm going to stick to it, where I'm not going to go to Wrigley Field in 2025 if this team don't put out a team. If I don't feel confident that this team has a playoff run in them. So I think that's really my main thing, what I got out of it. I know I bitched and moaned a lot, but I think the reason is I know they're looking towards the future, and there's a lot of prospects, and I know there is a lot of positives to look at with the Chicago Cubs team. It's just that 2 years in a row, they finish even farther back. They finished with 83 wins to close out the season, 83 and 79. They had a winnable schedule where they had a chance to squeak back in, but they just couldn't get the job done. It was teams like the Colorado Rockies that ended the Cubs season. That's just not how I want to see it. That's not how I want it done. So I think that's a disappointing failure of a season from a Chicago Cub fan that had so much promise last year. They were into it to the very end. Then things went down in this last week of the season. Therefore, it went kaput. This year, it was done like the 2 weeks. You don't want that. You want to see this team in. You want to see this team make the playoffs. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I think you got Porter Hodges, the closer, probably next year. I think that's a positive. Imanaga had an unbelievable first season, 15-3. I think that's big. It was a nice send-off to Kyle Hendricks over the weekend. Of course, he's going to be gone. But the last man of the 2016 team. So I think there are some positives on this team, and so you saw the combined no-hitter. So there were nice things about this season, seeing Rizzo and Baez come back, but it's time to focus on this team to try to be a championship contender. They weren't that in 2024. They weren't that, in 2023 they fought. Couldn't do it, but we'll see what 2025 brings. But I think overall there were some positive moments, but you wanted this team to get in. I'm just shocked at how good the Milwaukee Brewers are. I didn't even have them making the playoffs this year. They run away with the National League Central. The Cardinals again collapse. Reds I thought were going to be better. They fire their manager. So just a lot of ugliness in the National League Central. And this is a winnable division. The Cubs should have been in it, and they weren't. So great job. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Brewers. Embarrassing by the Chicago Cubs. Jed Hoyer needs to figure something out. Make it interesting. Make me on opening day, whether it's Japan or the regular season, be proud to be a Cub fan, because I'm not right now. It's embarrassing. This team is embarrassing. I want to be able to root for a team that can make it. And again, I don't like it. If I don't like it, not putting my money in Wrigley Field in 2025, marking it here. So they finished at 83 wins on the season. It is a failure of a season because they're not making the playoffs. They're the third biggest market. They weren't even interested. But I think the future is bright. You found your closer. You got some starters, the bullpen, a couple pieces. So I think it's a failure of a season, but the future is bright for this team. It's just the prospects. We got to see them come up and start doing it. I don't follow the minor leagues, so I don't really know. But we saw to see Kevin Alcantara finally come up. Alcantara. So I think he's a bright future. Hopefully Paredes does better at third base than he did in the 2 months he was here. Michael Busch did really good. Will Cody Bellinger re-sign? All these questions will be answered over the offseason, and we'll talk about that as well. And when we get ready for opening day early next year for the Cubs, they're in Tokyo to face the Dodgers. So I think overall failure of a season, future bright for the Cubs. They finished with 83 wins. Speaking of failures, now it's time to focus on those Chicago White Sox. Okay, let's focus on those White Sox. They made history. 1 game away. They took a couple games from the Tigers, but they couldn't win that finale. Did a good job of sweeping the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at home, but nonetheless, they do lose. They make history. 121 losses is now the worst, most losing team in a Major League Baseball season. Congratulations, Jerry Reinsdorf. Congratulations, Chris Getz. You guys got to have that on your record forever. That you have the worst team ever. You're gonna cut payroll on top of that. Your team goes and it's not a show. It's not a show bus or a show train or show plane. But you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. I guess there's no feud. I just think it was a terrible season that fans want to forget. The only thing you're going to remember about this year is, we went to Guaranteed Rate Field to get the campfire shake. Unfortunately, I didn't even get out there to see that. I didn't want to go out there to see this team. So I think, for White Sox fans, all I'm asking for, I know it was a failure of a season. I've ran them down enough. All I'm going to say is give your fans, whether it's at Sox Fest in January, give them a timeline on when they can be excited and tell them what's going on. If there's no outlook, whether you're looking at it from the perspective of what's happening at Sox Fest, if you're not giving any kind of timeline, just going to fly in this blind, then you're terrible people and you all should lose your jobs. Because if you expect people keep paying money to see this team continue to play with no future, guys, with no timeline of when this team can be good, then I don't blame these fans for not showing up next year. So failure of a season, but for the offseason, answers. If you can give your team answers and give them a timeline so we can look forward to watching really good White Sox baseball, hopefully that's the case. So I think for the Cubs, failure of a season, future's bright. The same thing can be for the White Sox if they start to run down their timeline. If they don't get the first pick in the draft, then you start getting dangerous because this season was for nothing. Again, you don't just get it now. You all get put in a hat like the NBA. They should get it. Will they? I don't know. So terrible. Baseball's done for Chicago. They don't even get to enjoy the most fun part of October. That's that. Also, goodbye to NBC Sports Chicago. They closed up their doors. Now everything will be on Chicago Sports Network. So they're going to be taking things over for the Bulls, Blackhawks, and White Sox. So many memories on NBC Sports Chicago. Derrick Rose, congratulations on his retirement as well. Many moments watching him on there. Cubs were on there for so many years. So as that shuts the doors and turn the network off, and then hopefully a new era of good sports somewhere in Chicago Sports Network. But thank you for 20-some years. It was originally Fox Sports Chicago, Fox FSN Chicago, but I went to NBC Sports Chicago, so a lot of good moments. NBC Sports Chicago no more. At Chicago Sports Network, I believe the Blackhawks this week will be playing on that network. So a lot of memories, and I'm sure a lot of people sad, but I'm sure a lot of people are switching over. But that is no more as well. Also, like I said, Derrick Rose, congratulations on his retirement. That's our last focus for the Cubs and White Sox. Well, I'm sure we'll have off-season ones as well, talking about hopefully some moves. But we'll talk more baseball, obviously, as the season. We'll have playoffs. The playoffs are tomorrow. We won't talk Cubs, White Sox probably until next spring, mostly, unless there's big signings, of course. But don't forget, focus tomorrow, MLB playoffs. I'm going to predict the playoffs. I'm going to tell you who's going to win the World, who's in the World Series, and who's going to win it. That's tomorrow, special Tuesday. And again, I'm going to record it before the playoffs start, but it'll air, of course, at 3:12, but I will give you my predictions for the playoffs. So everyone have a great Monday. Chicago baseball done. Now to look forward to hopefully the Bears and hopefully the winter sports. We'll have our first Blackhawk focus next week. So everyone that's it for the Monday. Everyone have a great Monday. I am Ryan Yadishadas from the Hello Chicago Network, telling you that this is the focus of Chicago sports.